$3 billion. That is the staggering amount of funding Africa's startup scene secured recently, according to Ajim Capital. We're talking about a massive, fundamental shift in global capital allocation here. And look, if you want to position yourself at the absolute forefront of this economic wave, you should know right up front that Elige Corporate Services can help you register a company in Namibia to get your foot in the door right now.
But to truly capitalize on these unprecedented capital inflows, we've got to stop looking at Africa as just one big homogeneous block. Instead, this explainer treats the continent exactly how the smartest institutional investors do, as a series of highly specialized, rapidly evolving microeconomics that are absolutely ripe for portfolio diversification. We're going to audit the landscape for 2026 and pinpoint exactly where the smart money is moving.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our roadmap today covers 6 key areas: the macro opportunity, the gateways of South Africa and Namibia, Nigeria as the economic giant, tech hubs and stable growth, navigating investment risks, and finally, how to actually execute your Namibian vision.
Part 1. The macro opportunity, fueling the African economy.
Before we zoom in on specific countries, we really need to grasp the massive macroeconomic shifts happening across Africa right now. I mean, we are way past the era where foreign investment was just about resource extraction, right? What we're seeing today is the rapid development of a deeply connected, robust financial ecosystem. And this growth is being driven by a powerful collision of 4 major sectors. First up, technology. Tech advancements are literally leapfrogging legacy systems. Mobile money adoption is actively outpacing traditional banking across the continent. Second, agricultural development is using cutting-edge agrotech to scale up yields and meet global food security demands. Third, we're seeing domestic finance sectors expanding rapidly, meaning your capital can move faster and more securely than ever. And finally, massive infrastructure expansion is physically connecting these markets. For global investors looking for profitable, long-term returns, this isn't just an emerging landscape anymore. In a lot of these sectors, it's rapidly maturing.
Part 2. Gateways, South Africa, and Namibia.
So how do you actually enter this market safely and effectively? You don't just drop capital randomly, you use strategic gateways. And right now, South Africa and Namibia stand out as the absolute premier entry points for accessing broader African markets. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why. It all comes down to alignment. You've got highly stable political systems paired with well-established infrastructure. This means your capital isn't getting bogged down by logistical nightmares, supply chains actually work, and legal frameworks are dependable. Plus, their economies are incredibly diverse, covering everything from traditional heavy hitters like mining all the way to cutting-edge tech. When you combine that level of development with their strategic geography, you get an incredibly favorable risk-return ratio. You're getting the security of a developed market with a massive upside of an emerging one.
Part 3. Nigeria, the economic giant.
Pivoting from the southern gateways, we've got to look to West Africa and address the sheer volume and scale of the continent's largest economy, Nigeria. You literally cannot discuss African investment without acknowledging the massive economic gravity this country generates. Now sure, it's pretty well known that operating in Nigeria comes with some unique logistical hurdles. But here's the thing, the Nigerian government is aggressively countering these challenges with targeted reforms. We're talking dedicated tech-free zones, eased currency controls, all specifically designed to cultivate a highly favorable climate for foreign capital. They are actively streamlining the process to bring outside money in. Why? Because they have to feed a thriving, explosive private sector and an absolutely massive consumer market. The strategy here is volume. The domestic demand is so insanely high that if you can navigate the entry, the potential customer base is practically unparalleled on the continent.
Part 4. Tech hubs and stable growth.
But hey, what if your investment thesis is less about sheer volume and more about hyper-specialized, rapid innovation? Well, for that, we shift our focus to nations driving targeted, stable growth through specialized sectors. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Kenya has systematically engineered its own tech boom. They didn't just accidentally stumble into becoming the Silicon Savannah. No, this is the result of deliberate government initiatives enhancing digital infrastructure and cultivating a highly skilled, tech-literate workforce, all within a stable macroeconomic environment. Kenya is living proof that targeted policies can create a world-class financial and tech hub that legitimately rivals Western startup ecosystems in terms of pure agility and innovation.
Let's move over to our next set of countries and see how this builds a really strong case for diverse investment strategies. Take a look at Ghana and Rwanda. Ghana is offering investors an incredibly promising business environment anchored by its renowned political stability. It basically provides this reliable, steady foundation for consistent returns, plus excellent cultural and economic exchange.
Meanwhile, Rwanda has taken a totally different, highly aggressive route to become one of the fastest-growing economies in Africa. Through rapid, deliberate government efforts to diversify into sectors like tourism and agriculture, mixed with a prime geographic location, Rwanda gives you unparalleled access to broader East African markets.
Part 5. Navigating investment risks. Of course, any thorough investment audit means we have to look at the other side of the coin, right? To keep this completely analytical, we have to systematically break down the actual realities and risks of deploying capital in these emerging markets. So the crucial point here is understanding the shift from historical perceptions to modern realities. Historically, the primary barriers to African investment were political instability and sudden, unpredictable regulatory changes. But take a look at the modern mitigations on the right side here. Across the board, from Nigeria to Kenya to Namibia, we are seeing really aggressive government reforms. Administrations are literally competing with each other to improve their investment climates. They're putting legal protections in place for foreign capital because they know that reducing bureaucratic risk is the only way to sustain long-term economic growth. So, have the risks disappeared completely? No, but they are being systematically dismantled by smart policy.
Which naturally brings us to the ultimate question for you. How do you actually start investing safely right now? Well, the answer is twofold. First, you've got to conduct thorough, specialized research into the specific economic climates of the microeconomies we just talked about, making sure they strictly align with your personal or institutional goals. Second, and honestly most importantly, you cannot do this alone. You absolutely must seek out professional, localized advice to navigate these regulatory frameworks safely.
Part 6. Execute your Namibian vision.
And that leads us to the actionable climax of this explainer. Look, understanding the macro opportunity is great, but executing on it is what actually generates returns. So let's look at how you can practically enter one of the most stable gateway markets on the continent, Namibia. If you want to establish a corporate presence, LH Corporate Services has entirely streamlined the process with these exact ready-to-go packages. If you just want to close corporation, the CC registration package is just $2,250, and the value there is massive. It covers everything from your name reservation and CC1 certificate to tax, Social Security Commission, and SME registration assistance. For a larger corporate footprint, the PT Lyle Ltd registration is $9,450, which gives you full incorporation, share certificates, and all the required bank account opening documentation. And if you're looking to bid on local contracts, their tender compliance package is only $1,850, equipping you with essential good standing certificates and a comprehensive business compliance audit. They have literally taken the complexity completely out of the equation for you.
As they put it perfectly, don't let paperwork slow down your vision. Go on our contact page and contact LH Corporate Services today to streamline your registration process and make your business dreams a reality. This is exactly how you overcome those historical bureaucratic risks we talked about earlier. You just partner with local experts who clear the path so your capital can actually go to work.
You can get started right now by reaching out at LH.com to register your business in Namibia. The macroeconomic shifts happening across the African continent are not waiting for anyone. The infrastructure is being laid, the tech hubs are booming, and the regulatory gates are wide open. The data is clear, but the real question is this. 10 years from now, when this landscape is fully mature and the entry costs are exponentially higher, are you going to be looking back wishing you had been an early mover? Head over to LH.com, get your footprint established, and become part of the most exciting economic success story of the decade.